That's what I'm talking about, that kind of taking control of you know, how you write, you know, and to write a ballad or blues, you know. I teach them a blues, which I always say the blues is a very seditious form, right? You know, if you really want to deal with sedition, you know, you should deal. So I would, you know, do an example like I've been keeping company with the layaway man. I say I've been keeping company with the layaway man. Each time he come by, we do it on the installment plan. Every Saturday night he come walking up to my door. Every Saturday night he come walking up to my door, empty pockets hanging right on down to the floor. Gonna get me a man who pays for it up front. I say gonna get me a man who pays for it up front, because when I needs it, can't wait till the middle of next month. But you know, well, and then it, you know, it goes on. But and the students, like, they loved, you know, when you talk about the blues, but the blues can be about, you know, a hurricane, you know, a storm, you know, a flood, whatever, etc. You know, but also, you know, I would play the blues for them too, and let them hear it sung, you know. So therefore, when they would do presentations, right? I mean, these young people bring in their guitars. And we did ballads, you know, the guys would bring in their guitars and start plunking and do, I mean, just amazing, this thing called poetry quite often that is meant to be sung. Well, you know, I always say I taught for 40 years, and it was not until my last 20 years that I truly understood what it really was to be a professor who really engaged students with things beyond questions and answers and exams and papers. I walked into my class one day 20 years ago and said, I always put my students in groups, so it didn't matter what class, a writing class, a lit class, a women's studies class, it didn't matter what class it was, because they were always would be reporting on something, right? But I didn't understand what that was truly all about. I didn't understand the democracy that brings to a classroom. And so one day I walked in and said, we're going to do a final, and your final will be in the group that I put you in, right? And of course the students who had, you know, who were going to be Phi Betas and who had like a 3.777 whatever, you know, and they were going to go to law school and grad school and med school, looked at me and said, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to do a group final, because my grade average, because what I said is that whatever grade I give you with this group final, right, is the grade for everyone, all 6 of you. So the ones who, you know, have been studying with me and were really great students, but not me. So the first time I did it, there was only one group. And at the moment after I had done it, they all came, 2 weeks later, they all came to my office separately saying, I can't do this. And I finally said, but you agreed to do it. Now we have a contract going in here. You have to do it. And they said, well, this person is not doing the work. I said, I'm not running that. You're running that now. That's yours. So therefore, you have to figure out exactly how to do that. And an amazing thing happened. The young people in that group, the students in that group, when I would ask the question sometimes, and one of the people from that group would raise their hand and say something that maybe wasn't really on target, someone from that group would say, really what she really meant, Professor Sanchez, was this. They became very much responsible for each other and protective of each other. And the idea of education became, I learned from them, they learned from me. Although I knew that had happened before, but really a much deeper kind of learning. And they saw themselves not just as students, you know, but also as teachers.